Hello, everyone. Um, I have received many comments from Jehovah's Witnesses saying how the Jehovah's Witness religion is the one true religion, and they love it so much they're so happy, and I better learn about Jehovah and love him before Armageddon comes. And this is for the Jehovah's Witnesses who leave those comments. I'd like to show you something, and maybe you out there could use this on a Jehovah's Witness. If you go to jw.org and you look up lie, they have a definition, their definition of what lie is. We all know this. It's the one that says the opposite of truth. It involves saying something false to a person who is entitled to know the truth. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses believe about lying. And they also bring out how that Satan is the father or originator of lying. But down here it says, especially serious have been the religious lies, as they have endangered the future life of persons deceived by them. And now I want to show you the December 1st, 1991 Watchtower entitled, Is Religion Making a Comeback? And we're going to look at page 7. And it says something very interesting here under how to choose the right religion. It says, a religion that teaches lies cannot be true. Okay, so remember that. A religion that teaches lies cannot be true. Now we're going to look at the Watchtower, September 15th, 2012, under You Know Neither the Day Nor the Hour. And we're going to look at 11, 12, and 13. And notice what it says. It says, recall Jesus' parables of the virgins and the talents. If the virgins or the slaves in those parables had known when the bridegroom or the master was arriving, they would not have needed to keep on the watch, but they did not know, so they needed to keep ready. Although the anointed had for decades looked to 1914 as a marked year, they did not clearly understand what would happen. When things did not take place as they expected, it could have looked as if the bridegroom were delaying. One brother later recalled, a few of us seriously thought we were going to heaven during the first week of that October 1914. Just think how discouraging it could have been to expect the end and for it not to occur. Moreover, the brothers faced opposition related to World War I, a period of relative inactivity like sleep set in. But in 1919, there was a call to wake up. Jesus had come to God's spiritual temple and a time for inspection arrived. Some, however, failed that inspection and consequently lost their privilege to continue in the king's business. It was as if they were not diligent in replenishing their supply of spiritual oil. Like the foolish virgins and like the sluggish slave, they were unwilling to make personal sacrifices for the sake of the kingdom. The majority of anointed ones, though, showed unshakable loyalty and a strong desire to serve their master even during the difficult war years. So if you notice, it says right there, anointed ones prove themselves ready. And then in the paragraph it tells about how in 1919 there was a call to wake up because Jesus had come to God's spiritual temple and he had picked the Watchtower Society because they were awake and watching and waiting for him, and they didn't fall asleep like the other virgins who had ran out of oil. The other churches weren't looking for him. They weren't ready, but the anointed, they were ready and they were watching for Jesus. But this is all a huge lie. And let me show you why. Not only were the anointed not looking for Jesus, they didn't have oil in their lamps. They weren't ready. Every single thing they say in this article is a lie. Every single one. All we need to do is look at the Proclaimer's book on page 133, this last paragraph. It says, in 1876, when Russell had first read a copy of Herald of the Morning, he had learned that there was another group who then believed that Christ's return would be invisible, and who associated that return with blessings for all families of the earth. From Mr. Barber, editor of that publication, Russell also came to be persuaded that Christ's invisible presence had begun in 1914. No, wait a minute. Had begun in 1874. And then you see there's an asterisk right there, and it goes down and it tells you why that was flawed. 1874 wasn't right. But you notice it says, a clearer understanding of biblical chronology was published in 1943 in the book The Truth Shall Make You Free, and it was then refined the following year in the book The Kingdom is at Hand, as well as in later publications. So as you see, Barber convinced Russell that Jesus came invisibly in 1874. And it wasn't until 1943, after the second president had died, that they finally figured out that Jesus came in 1914. So when they say they were looking for Jesus, no, they weren't. Who would look for someone when they already came? The teaching for all of Russell's presidency and all of Rutherford's presidency was that Jesus came invisibly in 1874, not 1914. So neither Russell nor Rutherford were looking or watching for Jesus because they thought he already returned in 1874. So as you see, they did not have oil in their lamps. They were not waiting and watching for the bridegroom, as they say. There wasn't even a need for the anointed to put oil in their lamps, because they were not going to look for someone when they already knew where they were. If Jesus did come and he was knocking, he would have been knocking for 29 years before they opened to him. Do you think Jesus waited for 29 years? No. I'm sorry, Jehovah's Witnesses, but you missed the appointment. You were not watching. You have been lied to. You have been tricked. You have been scammed. Your religion is not real. And they know this because just like here, they printed in your Proclaimer's book, they know full well that through all Russell's presidency and in all Rutherford's presidency that they taught it was in 1874. They even put it wasn't until 1943. You can look up those two books if you want to. It explains it all. That is when they came up with the 1914 for Jesus coming invisibly. So it's all a lie. Now you remember that watchtower I showed you at the beginning of the video? Remember this one right here? What did it say? It said, a religion that teaches lies cannot be true. The Jehovah's Witness religion cannot be true.